All right. Oh, yeah. I didn't get the memo about the sweats. Was that part of the jersey? Why didn't somebody let me know? I would have loved to wear sweats. Okay. Okay, so if you look at your notes, so yesterday we solved exponential equations, which is what we're having the quiz over tomorrow, solving an exponential equation. So I want to know, what's the difference between a sketch and a graph?
A sketch doesn't have a point exactly, and a graph does.
Right. So specifically what it means is a sketch, on the sketch, we're just going to, that doesn't work, Bruno. He was cold. He wore a jacket. He was cold. That's not like school spirit. Okay. Why don't you have on sweats today? Why doesn't he have on sweats today? I was left out too. Yeah. No. No. Okay. Well, I don't want anybody to feel left out. Okay. So, first of all, y equals 2 to the x. This is the exponential. This is what we were solving for yesterday. When the base is 2, this is exponential growth. When the base is less than 1, it's exponential decay. And so today, all we're going to do is sketch. And so if we're sketching, we're going to use the asymptotes and 1 point. So what the 1 point that you always get for an exponential is 0, 1. So that's the point. You're going to either move or you're going to multiply it, and then you're going to switch your asymptotes, and that's all you're going to do. So the 1 point and the asymptote. So if I do that, I know I have this point right here, and I have an asymptote right here. So if somebody can tell me why we have an asymptote at y equals 0, I'll cut your homework in half. Second period couldn't come up with it. I said it. If you weren't listening, you don't get it. Why? Okay, say that again, Marvin. Why is it never going to be negative? So, I'll tell you, okay, shh. Okay, stop. Shh. Listen. Oh, wait. The range is 0 to infinity, and the domain is all real numbers. I'll tell you that. That's why what? Why is it like that? So, okay, if I'm using all of the x's, why do I not get any negative numbers? Okay, well, the next one also has an asymptote at y equals 0, and it's a half. And it's positive. Is there any number I can put in there that's going to get below the 0? No. That isn't what you were telling me. Why? No. That's why I was ignoring you. That's not why. It's because the fraction, whatever the x is your x is your exponent. I'm going to put a -5 in there. It would still be positive. No, you all were saying it just can't. The 2 isn't making it positive. It's because the exponent, no matter what number you put in, it's always above the x-axis. But, okay, so then that's my next question. What does the -2 do? It flips it, and it is negative then. So that's not, the base doesn't have anything to do with it. It's because the exponent is the exponent. The variable is the exponent. We'll have half. Half. Angie got it. Angie got it, so we're going to have half. No. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of number 12s. Okay. Shh. I know. That wasn't me, by the way. I might run them upside down, but that wasn't me. Okay. So the difference between the 2 and the 1/2 is the 1/2 is going to be a decay. Yes. No matter what. Because I said. Okay. Correct. On either one of these, you're always going to start with 0, 1. Now, listen to my words. If I transform this, and if I put x minus 5, that's my transformation. Which way does that move my sketch? X minus 5 moves it to the right 5. So does that affect my asymptote at all? But if I had plus 5, then what would I do with my asymptote? Move it up. So the only time the asymptote is going to change with an exponential is if you get the plus. Okay? If it's with the x, the asymptote doesn't move. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I know that the log and the exponential are inverses, so I'm going to switch the x and the y. So if I use the point 0, 1 for the exponential, what point am I going to use for the log? 1, 0. I'm going to switch them. So if the domain is all real numbers, the range is going to be all real numbers for the log. And the range is 0 to infinity, so the domain is, there we go. If the asymptote is y equals 0 for the exponential, it's going to be x equals 0 here. So if it's x equals 0 this time, it goes this way. And here's my point, 0, 1 on both. So if the base is bigger than 1, it looks like this. If the base is less than 1, if it's 1/2, it goes this way. So on all the homework you do today, all you have to shift is the asymptote and that 1 point. Okay? That's all you're going to have to shift. So also, before we move on, so does it matter if the base is 5? No. The point is always still 0, 1, right? If the parent function is y equals e to the x, it's still 0, 1. It doesn't matter what the base is. It's always 0, 1. And the same works for this. The log base 2 always is 1, 0. It also works if it's ln of x. You still use that point. It means natural log, and that means the base is e. All right, so either one, these are okay. This one, you only shift the asymptote up and down, and this one is if it's an x shift. Okay? All right, so turn the page. So the 2 is a vertical stretch. And which variable do I multiply, x or y? Y times 2. So which one of these would it change? Would it change the log or it would change the exponential? The exponential. Because if I multiply this, the log times 2 is 0. So it wouldn't change it at all. All right, what about the next one? X plus 3. Which way is that a shift? It's left to the 3 to the left. So if you look at the exponential, 3 to the left, does that change your asymptote at all? It does not. How about the next one? 2 to the x. This is an exponential. It's shifting up 1. Does that shift your asymptote? It does. So on the next one, I have a negative 2 to the x minus 5. What is the negative? It's a reflection, and what's the minus 5? So which do I do first? Because they're both y transformations. You reflect first and then shift down 5. You have to multiply first and then shift down. Okay, so this is reflection over x. And 5 down. Y equals log base 2 of x minus 1. Which way does that shift? So I go right 1. Does that shift your asymptote? It does. It shifts your asymptote 1, and it's going to shift your point 1. Because this is a back and forth. Okay? So log base 2 of x minus 1. So this is down 1. Does that shift your asymptote? It doesn't. Minus log base 2 of x. This is a reflection over the x. So it would take this, and what would it do? It would flip it, so what's it going to end up looking like? It's going to look like this one, right? Because it's upside down. So it's a reflection over the y if it's with the x. So that would look like this. That's a reflection over the y. And this is a stretch of 2. I multiplied this times the y. So does that affect your point? 1, 0. If I multiply 0 times 2, does that change it at all? It doesn't. All right. So first of all, if I look at this, it's the exponential. So, and I have a base of 1/2. So that's a decay. And that tells me my point starts right here, and my asymptote would start right here. So the negative 2, what does that do? reflected over the x-axis. And so if I reflect it over the x-axis and I multiply the y times -2, does that change my point? Well, it starts at 0, 1. If I multiply the y times -2, what's my new y? -2. But the asymptote doesn't shift. And so it's reflected down. I mean, I just put it there so you can see what I did. So it's going to go like this. So my domain is all real numbers. My range this time is -infinity to 0. And the asymptote is still at y equals 0. So on the next one, y equals 3 to the x plus 2 plus 5. So what point do I start at? So if I start right here, I'm shifting which way? Down 5. And then which way? 2 to the left. And my asymptote, which was here, shifts down here because of the -5. And so it looks something like this. Because you have, yeah. So on the next one, so change, bless you, the log base 2 to the ln of x minus 1 plus 2. So if it's a natural log, what number do I start with? 1, 0. So which way do I shift? Right 1 and up 2. And my asymptote is here, so which way did the asymptote shift? The asymptote's up and down, darling. To the right 1, correct? And so I end up like this. So my domain this time is going to be 1 to infinity. The range is all real numbers. And my asymptote is x equals 1. What is the range? Where's your asymptote? It would be. Okay, so this time, add +1 here on the outside. It's not with the x. So the -3, what does that do? It's a reflect, it's a stretch, and the +1 moves up 1. So what do I do first? So what's the point that I'm going to start with? 1, 0. So I'm going to multiply my 1 times -3. And then which way do I shift? Oh, -3 is down. 1, 2, 3. And then up 1, right? So it's -2. Where's the asymptote this time? It didn't move, did it? Because these are y shifts, and the asymptote didn't shift. It doesn't shift up and down. It would shift back and forth. So the asymptote didn't change this time. So this would end up looking like this. So the domain is 0 to infinity. The range is all reals, and the asymptote is still at x equals 0.